Hi, this is Pastor Jim here. Um, I've got a story to tell you. Since I was 9 years old, and I'm 49 now, since I was 9 years old, I had a whopping case of obsessive compulsive disorder. And by age 10, my parents were fed up with me wanting to stay home away from school, afraid to leave mommy, all kinds of behavior. It was just avoidant behavior. I avoided everything, even the students in school, and I felt really tired and just wanted sleep. Now at 10, my parents brought me to the Montreal Children's Hospital, where they examined me for all cognitive things, and they were certain it was the way my parents were raising me, and nothing to do with me. So I really didn't get much help, and I can honestly say I didn't stop being obsessive compulsive. So they really didn't help. Then, um, as time went on, my obsessions changed. As I got older, year after year, my obsessions would change. I went from 9 years old being afraid of being poisoned, like becoming poisoned accidentally or whatever, just getting poisoned. It was just poison, period. I was afraid of that one, because the ultimate doom was death. And then it was drinking cold drinks too fast, which was warned by my mother about a tennis player that drank a cold glass of milk after playing tennis and shocked her system, and she died from that. And after that, well, I was afraid of doing the same thing, so I would do a mental ritual in my head: 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, blast off, and all that jazz, all in my head, so that I would be safe from not shocking my stomach from drinking anything cold whenever I drank something cold. My obsessions really just gradually got worse as I got older. The more mature I got, the more mature the obsession was. It got so bad that I happened to have seen a counselor in high school, and wires got crossed, and I really thought she was there to help me improve my grades, and she was really there for me. And here I thought I was doing something indirect to improve my school marks, and I wasn't, and it surprised me that I did. And after that, all the crap hit the fan. I freaked out. I thought I did something really, really bad to myself for following her. So I went to see psychiatrists at age 18, and they just locked me up. And they feed me Haldol, and I'm scared to death, basically because I'm obsessive compulsive, anxious as hell, prejudiced like you wouldn't believe about the mentally ill, and I really just wanted out of there. So we got a lawyer, and the lawyer got me out. And then I got weaned off the Haldol, and then I went back on my rampage, basically saying that a counselor had messed me up. And it was kind of like that, but it was like a misunderstanding, really. I couldn't get over it, especially because my OCD. I really couldn't get over, the details, the nitty gritty of it. But really, the gist of it is, A, she has nothing to do with schoolwork, unless she just works on your learning skills or something up here. And B, she's there for problems, period. Like behavioral problems. And I didn't know that. First time I ever seen a counselor in my life, And I was certain it was a tutor, because, after all, my vice principal is telling me my grades are really bad, and he has a wonderful lady that he wants me to see. What am I supposed to think? Tutor, right? But when I asked her, she said she was a counselor. asked again, is that a tutor? And she said, it's kind of a tutor. And you know what? After that, she's wrong. In my book, a counselor is a counselor who helps behavioral problems. Has nothing to do with schoolwork, improving, for feeling better about yourself. No, you just feel better about yourself, period. And whatever your grades do, it has nothing to do with you feeling better about yourself. So anyways, long story short, I don't give a rat's ass about my grades anymore. It's so long ago. And if I did do study, I'm a pretty big guy. I don't even need a tutor. So, anyway, the counselor was short, helping me for the wrong things, and I actually helped myself out for a case of OCD. But let's get to the point. Really, after I got out of that hospital, I went to the Montreal General Hospital, and they diagnosed me schizophrenic too. And about the counselor. Now, I had a nurse say that the counselor was all in my head. But then why am I there talking to a psychiatric nurse? You see what I mean? I know where the counselor is. I wasn't hallucinating no counselor. And I certainly wasn't delusional. It was all real. I even have her picture in my yearbook. Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I was jerked around for a long time by the psychiatric profession. And the psychologists I seen were no help either. I kept on being told my rituals were, they're magic thoughts. No, they're not magic thoughts. These are compulsive rituals that I do all the time. Hello, people. Should I get condescending on your ass like you do to me? Anyways, I'm fit to be tied. I'm tired of this. So, it happens 11 years ago. I stumble across a friend who has OCD too. An old school friend. And she helps me with my OCD. She helps me become Christian. And she helps me with my OCD too. And both helped me out. My faith and psychology. And I studied psychology like crazy. Okay, this was okay to be crazy. I studied psychology like mad. And I cured myself of my own OCD. Just by watching examples and everything. Doing it the hard way. And I'm here to teach you the system I came up with existing psychology so that you don't have to go do it the hard way. And you can do it yourself. Get over your illnesses. Any one of them as far as I'm concerned. Even OCD. Even schizophrenia. And just deal with it. And you can do a lot better than just medication. And as far as I'm concerned, medication is the training wheels. Psychology is the bike. So I'm going to be training you guys what I know that should put a lot of pressure on psychologists and psychiatrists to do a better job. Because they jerked me around for a very long time, and I know a lot of patients don't like these guys. And no wonder. They're so full of themselves, they're arrogant. I have not met one psychiatrist that's not arrogant. They don't listen. Some of them are really bad. I made a scene in the ER room saying this was a crime scene because psychiatrists don't do their job right and people jump in front of metro cars like the Montreal General Metro system. They jump in front of metro cars, get messed up, wind up in the ER room where they die because psychiatrists didn't do their job. Now that's a little harsh to say, maybe, but they don't really refer patients to see a psychologist either. Dare they say that they need psychologist help? Medication is everything, apparently. Psychology is it. I'm telling you, psychology is it. The medication is just a little bit of help to make it all worthwhile. From now on, I have to take Clopixel at 260 milligrams injection every 2 weeks. I don't really care. I'm not scared of no schizophrenia. Even without the medication. I've been on without it for 6 weeks. No difference to me. I don't see how they see any difference. The anxiety I was having was a lot to do with my OCD, though. And I finally got rid of that. And I'm on 40 milligrams of Paxil because I merit it. Okay? I fought very hard to get diagnosed for that. They wouldn't want to diagnose me obsessive compulsive no matter how hard they tried. You know, it's beyond them to diagnose me obsessive compulsive. You have to be a typical hand washer, basically, for them to diagnose you obsessive compulsive. And no, you don't have to be a hand washer. You can be obsessed about anything, not just dirt, not just cleanliness. You know? Anyway, as far as I'm concerned, my OCD took a turn for the bizarre, as far as I'm concerned. So maybe the Clopixel might actually help a little bit. But I'm neurotic, and I dealt with it. Even on YouTube with some self-help hypnosis. Okay? I listened to a hypnosis recording and went in trance and dealt with a serious learned helplessness case of myself. And I got over my depression, and I got over a lot of anxiety that really made me feel like I was dying. And yeah, that hypnotist, I promise you buy him. He's really good. He knows his stuff. He's excellent. I studied under him. His name is Dr. Steve G. Jones. Go for him. He's really good. And you'll find him on anxiety and depression, hypnosis. And do not be afraid of hypnosis. Hypnosis, you're in control, not the hypnotist. You can't do anything against your will or against your morals. Okay? You're in control. If you don't like what the hypnotist is telling you, you just wake up and break the trance. You can do that. You're not under his control. You know what I mean? And no, we can't make you bark like a dog if you don't want to. Those people that bark or cluck like a chicken or whatever on stage were willing to do it in the first place, or else they wouldn't have gone there. And you're willing to go under hypnosis, or else you wouldn't have gone to the hypnotist. But if you don't like what the hypnotist is telling you, you can always break it anytime you like, and there's no damage to you at all. And there's no such thing as being in hypnosis and not getting out of it. Once you're in it, and you can break it anytime you like, and once it's over, it's over. And it's just allowing you to be free consciously of doing things for yourself unconsciously so that you can feel better. Now, I deal with my depression unconsciously, so I don't feel depressed at all. And I stopped my worrying too. And it's just a matter of behavior. Your mind's behavior. Your thinking behavior. And I'm going to show you how it's done. Okay? Now, I'm tired of these so-called mental health professionals who think they know something and are arrogant about it. And they don't know jack all as far as I'm concerned. I mean, how many patients have I heard complain about these guys? Whew. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm going to teach you something about psychology that I learned. Okay, first of all, let's talk about cognition. Cognition. The cogs of your nition. Okay? Now, if you're smart enough, or wise enough even, you know intuitively, okay, gut instincts, okay, how your mind works. You'll know, if you just pay attention to what's going on in your mind, you can see the cogs working of your nition. Okay? And now I'm going to show you how to get in control of those cogs so that your nition is better. Okay? Now, CBT, or cognitive behavior therapy, is going on the basis of what you think is what you feel is what you do. Okay? Now, if you just draw a line here, okay, what you feel is what you do. So if you use what you feel to change what you do, you will change what you think. Okay? So if you anticipate your compulsive urges or any suffering you're going through behaviorally because you feel it, therefore you act it, whatever you're feeling, you can anticipate, accept it, and do contrary to it. Don't respond to it. Just do anything else constructive. Distract yourself, but do not do what you feel to do, what you feel like doing. Now, that way, you're in control of what you're thinking. And if you're wise, you can figure out, like, are you thinking learned helplessly, like? Have you learned to be helpless so that, oh no, it just always happens to me. Nothing good ever happens to me. That's just the way it is, you know. If you're learning helplessly like that, you know, it's not going to work. It's going to make you feel awful and depressed. So you got to change that and think positive. Now, it's easier said than done because it takes a lot of practice to do what I do. Now, I'm gifted. I'm a master at this stuff. It's too easy. I can change my mind at will. It's so easy now, but it took me 11 years to do it. And I'm trying to make it quick and fast for you. So when you do that with your OCD, as an example, okay, you can change your obsessions, okay? It's compulsive obsessive disorder. It's not obsessive compulsive disorder, because that fools you. It's compulsive obsessive disorder. And now you know that you have power to change your behavior and change your mind. And your emotions should feel better. But you'll actually feel more anxious afterwards because you're highlighting your anxiety. So once the thinking part is over and the behavior part is over, you're going to feel it because it's still a chemical imbalance. Hence why I would suggest you get on Paxil right away. And get some Rivotril while you're at it, or Clonopin, because that helps. You'll get used to it though, and I suggest you get off it fast when you do, because you'll get addicted. And that ain't no joke. Now, when you're feeling anxious, okay, that's learned helplessness. So your learned helplessness, you have to learn not to think helplessly, okay? Hence, I'll be getting into behavioral conditioning soon. Now, and when it comes to anxiety, period, stop your worrying thinking. Okay, if you're worrying thinking, that's not going to help either, because that's going to make you anxious. A slight twinge can make you think, oh, I'm dying from a heart attack. Or I'm going to die. So, like, and yeah, I'm smoking, and I'm a pastor. Go figure. We're allowed, actually. Everything's free in Jesus Christ. Just some things are not beneficial in the way I see it is. Age knows no, death knows no age, really. So if you're thinking about saving your life from dying prematurely, you know, babies are born still. It's just a way of looking at it. I might be getting myself into big trouble here, but life is a daring adventure or it's nothing. You can quote Helen Keller for that one. And I'm not so scared of dying. I had to confront death a few times. Okay, I cleansed my heart arteries of calcified plaque with angioprim Now that's www.angioprim.com. You want to cleanse out your arteries so you don't ever have to worry about a heart attack? Use that stuff. It's expensive, but it works. I'm 7 years without a triple bypass surgery, and I plan on smoking for a while. I love a cigarette. Now, since you guys happen to have been my reason for going through all this too, it wasn't just for me, it was for you, to save you trouble with these so-called mental health professionals. And I'm no medical maniac. I'm more like a Robin Hood as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, let's see. Yeah. Now you know what to change. Now you know how to feel better. Now I'm going to give you a mind operating system that I got from Dr. Paul Zoransky through David D'Angelo of doubleyourdating.com. Now that's for guys. Now, it basically goes that you have an observing ego. That's the you. You're the ego. And you have gut instincts, which is the id. And you have your conscience, which is the superego. Okay? Now that's one and the same. Okay? They're all connected. And then you have your wisdom through your conscience and gut instincts or intuition. That's your wisdom. And that wisdom gives you the freedom that you have. When you have freedom, you're all right. Okay, because that freedom gives you the ability to decide for yourself. So whenever you make a decision, you're using freedom and you're doing it wisely. Now when it comes to the second part of the brain, or the mind, is the genius. And that's your experience, and that's your education. Experience and education, book smarts and street smarts, which gives you your genius. And that gives you the time to come up with ideas. Okay? Now that's basically to think. Give you time to think. And when you think or come up with ideas, you're using time and you're doing it geniusly. Next is happiness. Now, how do you get happy? Well, first of all, you have to know about stress. Now, stress comes at you as a form of hurt or loss. When you're hurt, you're angry. And when you're angry, there's 3 ways to deal with it. 2 of them are bad, 1 of them is good. The first way is to be passive about it, which is where depression comes in. If you're passive with your anger, you never get your needs met, so you're never happy. Got it? And then you can also be destructive with your anger, which makes you aggressive or violent. And that's a bad deal too. And you're always going for a win-lose. Now if you go for a win-lose, you still lose because they're going to go for a win-lose. So you're both losing. You don't want to go for win-lose, you want to go for win-win. Now I more or less think big win, little win, but you still both win. And how you do that is by being assertive and patient to get your needs met for your well-being. Okay, so just think assertive. Assertive, assertive. Assert yourself. And cool it. Be patient. Cool it down. Just be assertive and patient. And you'll get your needs met. And both sides will win, and you'll have your well-being. And when it comes to loss, you'll feel anxious. Now, when you're feeling anxious, you can be passive with your anxiety, and that will make you impulsive. Make you eat a lot, whatever. It's impulsive. You don't want to be impulsive. So you don't want to be passive. And you don't want to be aggressive or destructive with your anxiety, because that means you worry. And when you worry, you feed the anxiety. So you start off with one loss, You double it, you times it by 10, another 10, another 10. Pretty soon you have a big ball of anxiety and you have a full-blown panic attack. So what you want to do is you want to be constructive. Constructive with your anger, constructive with your anxiety. Now, to be constructive with your anxiety is to be courageous, and you just happen to do the right thing. And that's confidence. Okay? So be courageous, and remember, work for confidence. And the confidence and well-being makes you happy. That happiness gives you the love. And that love is for self-esteem. So whenever you're esteeming yourself, you're spending love happily. And then it comes down to boundaries. When you have healthy personal boundaries, okay, you have all the freedom, time, and love in the world to spend on getting good deals for yourself. Now, think of your personal boundaries as just basically the boundaries to a country. You don't allow bad deals into your country, and you like good deals to come into your country to make you money. So, it's like that. So, you have personal boundaries. Just remember, if you have any holes in your boundaries, you're opening yourself up for a lot of suffering. Okay? So patch those holes. And you just have to say no or yes. If you decide no, I will not get this bad deal, that's it. No more bad deal. And you're happy again. You feel okay, you feel good. Wisdom, genius, and happiness is all intact. And you have your freedom and time and love to spare. And if you say yes for good deals, it's synergy. Conflict is, 1 plus 1 equals 0. 1 plus 1 equals 2 is peace, and 1 plus 1 equals 3 is synergy. So that's what you want, is synergy. And you'll get good deals for yourself, so you'll feel better. You'll feel happy. Now, when you think about OCD or any kind of mental illness, you're suffering. But this is nothing external except your brain. You have to think of your brain as something external. Okay? And it's stressing you out. Okay? It's a hurt and a loss, all kinds of things. And it's hurting you. It hurts. They say the brain cannot feel any pain, but when the brain's hurt, you feel it. That's where it hurts. And this is the bad deal. So you have to say no to it. And the CBT is the way to do it. And that CBT and that MindOS, mind operating system, together helps you in life. It helps you deal with your problems. Now, when it comes down to behavioral conditioning, there are two different ways of being conditioned. One is classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is where, like I could say, relax. And you relax. But if I say relax and I fire off a firecracker right in your face, how are you going to feel? And I keep doing that. Say I do that for 21 times. So it becomes a habit. Well, suppose I say relax now and not set off the firecracker. How are you going to feel? You're going to feel like a firecracker's blowing up in your face, isn't it? And it can also be for something good. Relax. Relax. So when I say relax, you expect this. Same thing. That's classical conditioning. And then there's operant conditioning. And B.S. Skinner came up with that one. Okay? Operant conditioning is basically a behavior is done. Now it's either rewarded or punished. A reward is simply getting something good for what you did, or removing something bad or noxious so that it feels good. A punishment is giving something noxious to stop the behavior, or removing something good so that it's bad. And that's how behavior is conditioned. And you could say that behavior is also, how would you say that? Shaped. Is shaped. Basically, let's say you got a dog and you want him to fetch you a beer. The more closer he gets to the fridge, you keep rewarding him until he finally opens the fridge door. And if he doesn't, you punish him. But if he does, you reward him. Pretty soon you have him shaped into getting you a beer and bringing it to you, and you just gotta open it up. That's shaping. And every time he does it, finally, correctly, you reward him with a dog biscuit or something. Or a pat on the head, appraisal. That's all it takes. And then there's variable conditioning, operant conditioning, where it's more like partial reinforcement. That's how gambling machines work. You know, it's like a little boy crying to his mommy, "Mommy, mommy, I want to sleep with you, 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 I want to sleep with you." Mom keeps saying no. Finally, the kid keeps going, and mom says, "Okay." Now the kids learn. Keep up the behavior, and it'll be okay. Simple as that. Never say yes to that, and you'll never have a kid that insists. No, that's behavioral conditioning. And behavior can be counter conditioned, which is like putting yourself in a deep relaxed state, and not trance, but deep relaxed state, just breathing and relaxing, tensing up your body parts and relaxing them and breathing through your nose, not through your mouth, until you've tensed every part of your body and they're just relaxed. Then you close your eyes and you vision levels 1 to 100, 1 being very easy and 100 being very hard. Envision what you're scared of. Okay? Like if you're phobic of getting into elevators, envision just walking to an elevator. Pretty soon you're in the elevator and you're so conditioned from 1 going up to 100, and that's called systematic desensitization. You will actually be so accustomed to that fearful thought, and your brain doesn't know the difference between real and what's in your head, created in your head. So when it comes to actually going into an elevator, you've preconditioned yourself to be relaxed at the worst part, that you're no longer scared of an elevator. It might be a little, but it should be a breeze. And then there's avoidant, what do you call it? What do you call that again? Anyways, you can also condition yourself to be punished for something that you don't want to do. It's like every time you think about having a cigarette, you have someone punch you in the arm. Pretty soon you learn that if you think about a cigarette, you're going to get a punch in the arm, so you don't think about a cigarette anymore. Aversion therapy. Now, it might seem harsh. Some people don't like that one, because sometimes they use electrical shocks to your tongue or something, so that when you light a cigarette, no more cigarette smoking for you, right? So, yeah. And then we go on to NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Now, I want you guys to get Neuro-Linguistic Programming for Dummies. Okay, that's the best book you can actually get. Now, when it comes to NLP, just remember that what you're experiencing is subjective, and it comes at you as a language, whether you realize it or not. The language is in your 5 senses, and within your 5 senses, there are details to them. Like, when you see something, you not only see color, but you see brightness. You see big, up close, or far away, black and white, When it's hearing, it's pitch, tone. When it's taste, it's bitter, sour, sweet. When it smells, it's more or less the same thing because they're connected, right? And then touch, kinesthetic. Is it soft, smooth? And those are submodalities. Now, the five senses are called modalities, and the details are submodalities. Now, what's coming at you from this YouTube, okay, is in a language. Even the words I'm using is a language, and it can frame how you think. It can make you feel sad, it can make you feel happy. And what I'm coming at you is it comfortable? Am I coming off nice? Is there rapport? You know? And it's a language. And this language affects your map of reality. And everyone has a unique map of reality. Not everyone has the same map. No one has the same map of reality. Like, no one has the same fingerprints or the same eye retinas. And no snowflake is the same either. But maps of reality are different for everyone. And when you get the language at you, this is your experience and it affects your map. And when your map is affected, it makes a meaning and you feel it in your internal state. Now, that's just the gist of it. That's the gist of it. Now, beliefs, values, decisions, attitude, all that are basically what you call filters. And your map reality, the things that come at you have to go through a filter, which is deletion, distortion, or generalization. Okay? Now, we all do this, and it's all just natural. It happens. And that's your filter. And let's see what else there. It's all language. You can chunk up or chunk down. Like, you can get very vague, very specified and detailed. You can anchor somebody. I could put you in a state where you're happy and touch you wherever. Then you might be feeling glum and I happen to touch you there, and suddenly you're happy again. Your mood lightens up. It may not be so dramatic, but you lighten up. That's called anchoring. I can even stand in one part of the stage, and that's an anchor, talking about a certain thing. Then walk to another part of the stage, and that's another anchor when I talk about something else that's more happy. Then I go back to the other one and it's sad, and I come back and it's happy again. You can anchor yourself where you are, too. There's a lot of fun stuff with NLP that you can do. Be ethical, please. Karma's a bitch. And last but not least, once you get the NLP book, dig in. You're going to get it so much easier after what I just said. Boy, you're going to get it. And remember, NLP cannot be used on yourself without the use of CBT. That's how you apply things to yourself, is through CBT. The mind operating system, the behaviorism, and even NLP. And finally, Sigmund Freud. Now get a load of this. Sigmund Freud believes that the conscience or the superego is afraid to lose control of the id, or the gut instincts. So it comes down hard on the id, making it seem very scary and painful for you to think of your scary thoughts or your fears, your intrusions, right? So your ego comes up with a defense, which is to undo something, to prevent the bad from happening. So what you can do now is learn to condition your conscience to let your gut instincts alone. Okay? Superego has no business controlling your id like that. Now, you don't have to go through years or months of talking about your past and free association and all that. You don't have to. You can do it all manually. Just remember your conscience and your gut instincts and just use it intuitively. Done. I'm conditioned. And trust me, you're going to go a little spacey with that one. Okay? I warned you. Now, You might find yourself trying to visualize what's going on in your head, like seeing your thoughts or feeling your thoughts passing through your mind and all kinds of things. You don't gotta. It might be fun to do, but you don't gotta. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. Just let it go, because it's all working the way it's supposed to anyways. And that's really all I have to say. Now, when it comes to schizophrenia, just remember this. Sigmund Freud says the superego has lost control of the id. So it's obvious that the superego has to get in shape and get its act together and start keeping the id down and not so big for its britches. And that should help too. Now, NLP is quite useful to get rid of hallucinations. Think about how you can use the submodalities and tone down that noise. Until you hear nothing. It's possible. Now, for any of you who hear voices, people, I hope you can learn something from this. Practice, experiment. If it doesn't seem right, it probably isn't. So, remember, be careful not to hurt yourself. But it's all unassailable truth that what I've just told you is all unassailable truth. It's the truth. It works. Okay? If it's not true, if it's bullcrap, it probably is, and it won't help you, and you'll feel awful if you tried it. So remember that. Be careful. That's all I have to say. Now take care. God bless. May this help you. Okay? It should. This is the best help I've ever seen, that I've ever studied off the internet. It's the stuff that I've just given you now. It's all practical. Some of the stuff isn't practical at all, like meditation. Who's got time to sit there and go, It's a waste of time. Come on. We got better things to do than sit there and go, What's it do? For anxiety, even. I never quite understood that. I like thinking, I like contemplating God. I like wondering about Him. I like learning from Him. I like learning about Him. I like getting close to Him. I meditate Him like that. But I don't sit there going, come on. If you're a Buddhist monk, go right ahead. Whatever. Anyways, I've got 2 minutes left. So, whatever your problems are, I'm certain this stuff will help. And when it comes to personality disorders, just remember, your boundaries, your character. That mind operating system has a lot to do with character. Your boundaries, your personal boundaries, has a lot to do with your character and your internal resources. And remember, you're in control of your mind, your thinking, and your internal state, and also your behavior. So if you ever think of being rash, and you want to reach out and clobber someone, hold back, okay? Take a step back, and just watch, okay? Is it worth clobbering the guy? You have a choice to make. You don't just wall off and hit somebody. You think about it. Don't be so impulsive. Do not be so impulsive. Remember, stop and think. Your behavior has a chance. You can control your mind, you can control your emotions, your internal state, and you can control your behavior. Now think of emotional intelligence for a change, and wonder why that person is acting the way he is. Look at body language and eye contact and voice tone. Look them in the eyes and see if you can read the eyes. Okay? I've given you a lot with that one. Okay? And be emotionally in tune. Empathic almost. That's emotional intelligence. Well, take care and God bless.